Also joining me on this show, Sushant Sareen, who is the strategic affairs expert. Sushant, coming to you first. How are you reading the change in tone that we are seeing, and everything has happened almost in the last 24 hours? The first statement coming in from US President Donald Trump, Prime Minister Narendra Modi responding to it and saying that both the countries, India and the United States, they have a very global partnership, a strategic tie, something that needs to be cherished.
Okay, so look at it. The way I look at it is that since this fracas with the United States started a couple of weeks back, Prime Minister Modi has not made a single statement. He has not tweeted on this particular issue of the spat with the United States. He has kept a complete silence. And while he has been silent, Donald Trump's rage has been continuously rising. He has been making the most obnoxious statements. His cronies like Navarro and Besant and this other fellow, the clown Luknik, have been issuing threats, warnings, all sorts of things. And the Indian side has responded with studied silence, not reacted. Now, after all the stuff which the Americans have done, the last statement of President Trump suggested that he wants to start climbing down. But clearly, I think the reading in the Indian side is that maybe he needs a kind of face saver. Now that he has made a certain overture, the Prime Minister has responded in a very calm, measured tone and welcomed and said that I won't go to the mind of the strategic part, stuff like that. I think he has tried to say that, look, I don't want to break off with you, but if you're going to be pushing me against the wall, then I'm sorry, I do not accept it. And this is his overture to Donald Trump's overture. This is his response to, Donald Trump's overture. And let us see if this sets the ground for some kind of a re-engagement on sensible terms. But I've also read today morning that the UN, at least at the UN, the Prime Minister is not going. The delegation is going to be led by the External Affairs Minister, which I suspect was in itself a signal from India that if Americans do not want to engage, the Prime Minister is also not going to fall over himself and do what some of the other countries have done, lie prostrate, literally grovel before the Americans. He is not going to do that. I think that was also a certain signal which was being sent. But if things come back to normal, I think everybody will welcome it. But will we go back to what the relationship was 3 months back? I'm a little skeptical on that. I think there's a lot of bitterness in the mouth with the kind of ugly statements that have come out from the ugly Americans. And quite clearly, I think that will rankle in India. That will influence some degree of policy making and engagement with the Americans. And yet, I think India will not say that, okay, fine, we are kutty with the Americans. I think we will engage with them. We will try and smoothen out some of the rough edges. But if the Americans think that we are going to fall over ourselves to kiss the ring, I don't think that's going to happen. And they've been given enough signals that's not going to happen. And if someone like the Commerce Secretary Lutnick thinks that India is going to go on all fours and apologize and beg for a trade deal, I don't think even that is going to happen. I would be extremely surprised and disappointed if something like that was to happen. But if we do get a trade deal, which is good for America and good for India, and is a win-win, not. But on one side's terms, where one side is surrendering everything and the other side is everything. This is not the New York mafia. This is international relations. That's not going to happen.
Right. Thank you, Sushant, giving us that perspective. We are now joined by Geeta Mohan. Geeta, one of the things that we are now seeing, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi had not spoken a single word. We had seen reactions coming in from the Ministry of External Affairs. Most of the statements were coming in from the United States of America, and they are the ones who are now doing this 180-degree change.
Well, I wouldn't call it a 180-degree change. Don't hold your breath, Aishwarya, for a complete thaw in relations and bonhomie between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump. That is going to take a while. What he's trying to do is basically, one, he himself is reminded that there is a comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries, also reminding India, because the pictures, it's not the SEO, the pictures of RIC really riled Washington, Russia, India, China together. And yes, the reason why he tweeted the way he tweeted, almost like a jilted lover. But now I think things are going back on track in terms of Washington looking at engagement with India. What is more important over here is, like Minister Goyal said, and Minister Sitaraman as well, that trade talks have to take place in a very sensible manner, so that, and like Commerce Minister said, so that there is a conclusion of the trade deal by November. Because if that does not happen, these 50% tariffs that have been imposed on India will be hitting Indian markets really badly, particularly not the markets in manufacturing. Really badly. So there is a sense that the sides need to talk, but then you have an entire camp, a coterie within the Trump circle, Trump camp, who do not advocate the kind of relations that India has had with the US in the recent past. And if that is the case, then you will hear maybe something else come Sunday or Monday. For now, it's a weekend, so he's going to be rather quiet. But come Monday, we will see what this means. Whether this is whether the last night's statement where he said that, I hope you prosperous long journey, was a wish in remorse, or was it a threat? We'll get to know in the coming days how Washington continues to react with India and India's options that India is looking at. India is not only looking at Russia and China, that's not the only option. Those were optics. There's reality with China that India has to look at, that the world knows, that the country knows, but India is looking at other markets as well, so that their manufacturing sector, that India's manufacturing sector is not hurt. So it's a statement. I suppose there is realization that America needs India, but do not forget, Ashwarya, that there are simultaneous engagements and talks between US and China. Should they conclude a trade deal before India US, then that could spell trouble for India further.
Geeta, what in your opinion has prompted this change in the tone that we are seeing from the US administration at the moment?
I think it's the optics. It's the optics. He was asked by a reporter and he responded in the very casual manner that he does. The only thing is, and why did Prime Minister Modi respond to this tweet alone, or this post of his alone, or this statement of his alone? Is because this is the first time, I suppose, in a very, very long time, that he did not include a but to his statement. Because every time he'd say, Prime Minister Modi is a great friend of mine, we have great ties, but I have this problem and that problem with India. This time around, this is the first time in a very long time that it's just a positive statement, reminding not India more. I think more it was a reminder to himself that it's an important relationship, that they shared great ties, and that there's a comprehensive strategic partnership between India and the United States of America. If they want India to honor it with that reminder, then
Right.
America should also be honoring the same.